As a salt maker, I was maybe a wee bit unreasonably excited that the very first lesson in Jason's new course, 30 Days of Magic, was all about salt. So when he asked if anyone was interested in making a video about his new class, it seemed like perfect timing. Um, and so I thought I would share with you a little bit of how I make sea salt. You can see that this water has already evaporated off quite a lot, and the salt has crystallized or is crystallizing. At this stage of things, I keep the temperature very low. You see some chunks in it simply because I shut it off last night, of course, and I'm just now turning it back on. It will smooth out and end up being a lovely bowl of bright, shiny white, large flake sea salt. I really enjoyed this experimental process. And the reason it's different than what I normally do is that I did not go gather this water from the ocean near me at high tide. In fact, I didn't experiment this full moon very much on purpose. A number of my students and clients are wanting to get a chance to make their own sea salt as part of the practice and the learning. But of course, not everyone lives near the ocean. So, what I did this time, before I start sharing this technique, is I took advantage of the fact that our full moon was in alignment with the global rights for Hecate and Helios. And I made a moon and a sun water with water that's partially rainwater because it's been storming here, but water that I added my own homemade salt to. It's a very powerful way to work with salt, to allow the crystals to dissolve back into the water is quite a beautiful time for reprogramming, cleansing, and then recharging as it's drying with your requests, your intentions. Salt making itself is a bit of a death and rebirth process, and it has proven to be so powerful and very much a somatic and embodied way to go deliberately into a death and rebirth ritual. Our culture doesn't offer us the kind of time that is really necessary, not for death or birth or other kinds of grief or trauma, for great change in ourselves or in our lives. And I have found that the consistent process of salt making helps to bring that sometimes very shadowy experience more firmly into the 3D. It's a way of being able to work with our hearts and our nervous systems in front of us. I have often said that it is really our nervous systems that are on the magician's table. So, Jason, thank you. You are a wonderful teacher, as I'm sure all of your students will agree. And this new 30 Days of Magic course with the drip feed into the email has been just fantastic and so easy to save and reference the information, and such terrific information that you chose to include. Absolutely worthy for beginners and experienced practitioners alike. Thank you again.